Hello again, this is Allison from the library, and in this video I want to talk a little bit about some ways that you can use artificial intelligence to help you with library research. One of the things that I think could be really helpful is at the start of your research, if you're still trying to figure out a little bit more about your topic, maybe what keywords would be helpful. You could use a tool like ChatGPT. So I'm going to go to that just to ask for some ideas that might help you get started. So we always want to be really careful that we don't let artificial intelligence do the thinking for us, but you could definitely ask it for what are some keywords that I could use to search database for articles about maybe like happiness and money. And we could see what it might say. And so it'll give you like a whole lot of ideas, and this could really help you think about your topic as you are looking through databases and not finding things that you like. You could try some of these other terms. You can even ask it to recommend databases. What databases would you recommend that I search? And it will give you some ideas, which is really cool. So a lot of the ideas that it's recommending are databases that the library has. One of the things I always like to caution people about, and you might already know this, but I still come across a lot of people that don't know this, and that is that ChatGPT will sometimes recommend or even cite, sources that aren't real. So people will bring me like a list of books and articles that ChatGPT or another generative AI gave them, and we won't be able to find those items because they won't be real. So they will look real. Sometimes the author will be a real person. Sometimes the book title will be a real book, but the rest of the citation will be wrong. It won't have been written by that person in that year. It's not on that topic. So you want to be really careful about using the recommendations of generative AI like ChatGPT to direct you to other resources. And you also want to be really careful because sometimes you will get wrong information out of these, and it's hard to verify. But you always do want to do that. So I think getting ideas about where to search, keywords, even like background information that can help you understand your topic and the context, sort of like you might read Wikipedia before you research. I think ChatGPT and other generative AI can be really a good tool for that kind of thing to help get started on research. But the library also does have some databases that use AI in them, but they're searching like a higher quality data set, so you would get less fake information. So I wanted to point out a couple of those. So on our library homepage, you can click this tab to go to databases, and I'm going to look for one called SCITE. That uses artificial intelligence, and it actually is quite slow to search SCITE, so I already have this pulled up to show you what it did. So what you'd do is you would go to SCITE. You do have to create an account, so I've already done that. And then there's a function in SCITE that's called Your Research Assistant. And so you can see it kind of looks the same way that the ChatGPT screen looked, right? But instead of searching whatever we don't actually know internet sources that ChatGPT has ingested into itself, this is searching peer-reviewed scientific research journals, and that's the only data in it. So there's not any weird things that haven't been vetted as at least good information. So one of the things that you can do is you can search this, and so I think I asked it, I can't remember the question I asked it, so I'm going to go just bring up the search. So I asked it, does money make people happy? And it took probably about 5 minutes for it to generate this, but you can see what it did, and it has done a little paragraph or two here. And so this is a little bit dangerous because you would not want to copy and paste this into your paper, right? We didn't write this. This is not our work. But what I like about it is that it does help you sort of understand what the research might say about this topic with examples. So they're talking about studies that indicate that money can contribute to happiness, but when it's used in specific ways. So, for example, and then they are citing actual real articles that researchers wrote, and it will send you to those citations, which is very slow. But it will do it, and it also puts them over here. So what I like is that, yeah, this first article, done et al., here's the citation to it. So this is an article called "If Money Doesn't Make You Happy, Then You Probably Aren't Spending It Right." So that sounds really interesting, and it's from Journal of Consumer Psychology, and we have a link to view the full text. So if we click that link, it should go out and it should find the article. So here is that article. So I think this could be a really good tool for you because it's directing you to real research that you can read. It's like a different way to get to articles. So as you look through these, I would encourage you to focus on the articles it's recommending and how you could find those. But if you do read the paragraphs, I think it does help you sort of like visualize how these articles might talk to each other, how they might agree on some things or contrast on other things. And that can kind of help you figure out which articles you want to look at or which parts of that topic you're really interested in. So hopefully this would be an interesting tool, but just remember, you cannot just copy and paste this into your paper. Your professor will be very disappointed if you do that, because this is just like a summary of the research, and what you're writing is what you think about this topic based on your own research that you've done. So, you would want to write your own version of something like this, but this can help you find like other things to look at. So I think SCITE is very interesting. It's really good for science topics. It's not great for other things. So I'm going to show you another tool that you might want to try. If we're going to go back to the database's A to Z list, and this is actually a beta test of some artificial intelligence that is incorporated into the JSTOR database. So you might have seen JSTOR in a class before or not, which is totally fine. But if you type in JSTOR, it just stands for journal storage. And this is a database that's really good for the humanities. So if your topic is more humanities focused, I think this will be a good spot for you. But I can do that same topic in here as well because it did work. There were some things on it. So we could do money and happiness. And JSTOR is like SCITE. It's all academic articles or books. It does have books, which SCITE does not. And so these are all sources that should be really good sources of information. And this is the database part. It's just searching through them like one search would. And so we could do this. It also has an experimental AI component. So you should see this tab that will show up. So we've got 200,000 and some results. If we go to the experimental tab, it's going to guess which of those results I would like the best based on my search. And now this is the fun part because you can disagree with it, but this is what the AI is doing. It's like looking through all of those hundreds of thousands of things and it's saying, I think these 25 are the best for you. And so I love that you can go back and look at the rest and disagree and say, no way, I liked these other ones better. Or you could look through these and you could say, that was pretty good. That AI did a good job. And I do want to look at some of these other things. So you could go through this list. The other thing that I like that is AI driven that you can play around with in this database is when you're looking at an article. So say if I went to this article that's called Spending Money on Others Promotes Happiness, You should see right here the beta interactive research tool. This is the AI driven tool, and right now it's off, so I'm going to turn it on, and this is what will happen. So this gives you like a little chat bot where you can chat with this article, and so you can ask it questions about the article. So especially, I picked an article that was only 2 pages. That was not a good choice. But if you pick an article that's like 50 pages long, you can ask it, like it does a sample question for you, like how is money and happiness related to this text? And then the AI will tell you exactly what this article is going to have about that. So this is going to save you so much time as you read through these. If you have questions, maybe you're reading it and it doesn't make sense and you need help trying to figure out like what are they talking about. So you can ask questions like that, and it, I don't know, does a good job sometimes, not always. You can kind of judge what you think about it, but I think it's a nice tool to have just to help us understand things better, which is pretty cool. And then I also like how it recommends other topics. So these are other searches that I could do, or like show me related content. And then it's going to recommend these other articles that are in JSTOR that are related to the topic. So this could be a really nice artificial intelligence tool for you as well. It's not writing anything for you, but it's going to help you find articles faster and then hopefully understand them better as you're reading them. So I think this is also a really good tool. Both of these are on the library website, totally free. You can get to them through databases A to Z. I always call it the wrong thing. But you go to the databases tab, there's SCITE and then JSTOR. So those are two that are completely free through the library that you can use. There's also some that are available online that you can search for free. One that I like to show people is called Consensus. And it does a similar thing. Since it is not through our library, it makes it a little bit trickier to get the articles that it's going to recommend, but it is pretty cool. So we can ask, does money buy happiness, to Consensus. And it is going to make me sign in. So you do have to have a free account. I think that I already have an account, so I'm going to do that, but you will have to do this if you want to use it, which is why I don't ever want to make people use it. But if this looks appealing to you, you could try it. So you'd have to make an account, and it's a little bit slow too. Some of this AI stuff takes a while to get going. But what it will do is it looks through all the research it has. This is also only searching scientific research, which is great. And it does this thing called the consensus meter. So it's like I look through a lot of articles and I calculate that 38% of them say yes, money can buy you happiness, and 62% say no. So that's really interesting. It does give you a little summary and key insights into the topic, which are AI generated. So remember, don't copy and paste those, just use them to help you understand. It gives you related searches, but then what I like is it gives me those articles that it based that consensus meter on. So it's saying it looked at this article and it said that it leans towards saying yes, money does buy us happiness. It looked at this article and it said this paper leans towards saying no. So if you know that you want like a good variety of research that you could look at that is finding different things to add like some nuance to your paper, this could be a really good way to point you to articles that do those things. So I think that could be really useful. I like how some of them are unknown, so we could not predict how this paper leans. You could look at those yourself, but it's recommending this high quality research that does exist, that you can actually get to, and when you click on the articles, it will give you links to the full text and the PDFs if they have it. And it gives you the abstracts so you can decide if you want to look at this. So this is just one. There's a lot of different tools like this that exist. If you're really interested in this, you can come ask a librarian at the library. We love to show these to people and kind of see what you think. I think you could write this whole paper just using traditional library databases. You would be fine. You would find enough stuff. But if you want to play around with the artificial intelligence databases, you could also do it that way. And I think you would find a lot of interesting stuff that way as well. So I don't want this video to be too long. So these are just a few other hints of things that you can use. Remember, library chat is available if you need help. It's always a real person. You can email me. You could go to research appointments, make an appointment to meet with a librarian, or you can email or text us if you have a question. So I hope that your research goes well. Let me know if I can help more,